Hi, and welcome to the Merryweather Knitting Podcast. My name is Gabriella, and I'm coming to you from my home in Germany, where I live with my husband and our daughter and our little cat. And I can't wait to chat with you today about all that I've been knitting and making this last week. Actually, the last 2 weeks. Last week, I wasn't able to record a video, though I record a video usually every single week. But my husband Nick was away on a film set for the week last week, and he took all of the cables and the things that I need to upload videos along with him. But that's okay. It means I have double the progress to show you this week, double the content, so I hope you'll enjoy and stay tuned to see all that I've been making and working on. I have been really enjoying my projects the last couple of weeks, and I have had something new on, so stay tuned for that. I have some new plans that I'm excited to share with you. So I'm just going to jump right into it and share with you my works in progress. This week I have no finished objects, just works in progress. I've been working on a couple of bigger projects the last couple of weeks, so I haven't finished anything, but I have some good progress. So I'm going to start with this one here. This project that I'm first going to show you is my So Faded Pullover, which is a pattern by Andrea Mowry, which I'm sure many of you have known and seen, and maybe even made your own version of, but it's a beautiful pattern. It's a simple raglan style pullover or sweater. I know sometimes I say pullover, but it is a pullover, sweater, jumper, any of the above. It is, but it's a really lovely pattern. I've modified it a bit because I've omitted the little garter cap sleeve detail that the pattern has in it. I just knit the whole thing in stockinette. But it's been a really fun knit so far. Extremely meditative, or very mindless, very relaxing, kind of my stockinette project on the needle. Right now I feel like I always, or most of the time, need a stockinette project, or a very kind of mindless, relaxing project that I can just pick up when I don't want to think too much, when I don't want to have too much, don't have to focus too much, and I can just kind of knit away without even looking at it. For car rides or train rides, usually, although right now I haven't been doing that many train rides, or even, walking or just sitting kind of and chatting. It's a very nice thing to have, just a stockinette project. And this has been that for me the past few weeks. A couple of weeks ago, I did also have a bit of a period where I just felt kind of like I just didn't have the capacity for much focus as far as my knitting time went. I was just tired and didn't have much focus, and this was such a nice project to have in that week too, because it was just pure stockinette, relaxing, but it was also something for my hands to do. I can't just sit and have nothing to do with my hands. If I'm if we're sitting and we watch a movie or a show, or if I'm sitting somewhere, I need to have something to do with my hands. I'm sure that I'm not the only one who has that, but that's been this project's purpose lately. And a lot of the time that's socks for me, but this has been it because it's just all nice in the round stockinette, occasional color switching, which is also very relaxing. This little kind of fading technique is a lot of fun too. It's not too difficult, and if you're into the fading thing, I think you should definitely try this pattern or any of Andrea Mowry's patterns that are kind of fades. There's the Find Your Fade shawl. I think there are lots of fades. There's also a cardigan pattern, I think there's pretty much everything in a fade form out there, and it's really a lot of fun to kind of fade. So this pullover is knit out of some very special yarn, which I've talked about previously in previous videos. It's a gift yarn from my husband a few years ago for my birthday, and some little minis from the hand dyer Molly of a Homespun House, who's based also here in Germany. I think she's based in Leipzig now, but she used to be in Berlin a few years ago, and that's when he ordered this yarn from her. So this is a special one-of-a-kind skein, this middle one here, and this skein is called, I actually forget the name of this skein. Oh, Nona Ensnares Me, special birthday yarn, but it's by Molly of Homespun House. And all these colorways here at the top are all also by a Homespun House. And I don't know if you can really decipher them because they are faded together, and they fade very well, especially these ones here. But they're different little mini skeins. This one here is also by Molly of Homespun House. I showed this previously as well, but it's kind of just a tonal gold, yellow, beautiful, natural tonal color. That's what I started with. And I've gone down to this one and faded into this little mini and then back into this main color. And I've knit quite a significant amount of this. I wanted to just knit the whole thing, but then I remembered, I want to have the sleeves at least have a bit of that same color, so it's kind of like a cohesive line across the sleeves and the body. I don't know if I have enough for that. I hope I do. Maybe I have more than enough, I'm not sure. But I left quite a bit of yarn from this skein for the sleeves. And then I started to fade into this color, which is the least special ball or skein or colorway of yarn. It's just a simple sock yarn. It's, I think, Rome. I'm not really sure what it is. It's a very old ball that I've had in my stash, just a 4-ply sock yarn. 75-25 wool to nylon, very simple sock yarn. But I do think the color is beautiful. I don't know if you're going to see it in the camera very well, but it's not extremely solid. It is a bit heathered. It has some golden tones in it, some greens, some blues, and I think it fits perfectly well with these other colors together. I really like the combination, and I don't really wear blues very often. I'm a big fan of greens, but this is definitely not a shade which is usually in my kind of comfort zone in my wardrobe, and I really like it, and I'm really excited about having it integrated into this piece. And I actually wasn't so sure. I thought, maybe I should get another skein of variegated yarn or speckled yarn or tonal yarn, something hand-dyed and very colorful to make this a completely colorful piece. But as I started to fade and look at it, I really started to like the idea of going into a more solid shade at the end. And maybe at the very bottom of the ribbing, I'll switch back. I have another little mini I'll show you. That is, I don't know if I'm going to use this or not, but it's this color here. It's kind of like blues and neon green, also something which I would usually not wear, but I kind of think it's fun, and I might pop that in at the end of the ribbing here. I'm not quite sure yet. I kind of like just going into this solid heathered shade at the bottom. I'm not quite sure, but I think it will look really nice. I'm very excited about this little sweater. It's going to be a cropped version. I'm knitting the cropped version, and I'm actually not super far away from the little ribbing part and then casting off for the body. So probably by next time we chat, I'll have finished the body. We'll hopefully have started on the sleeves. It's going to be so much fun to have this to wear. I think it's going to be a piece that I'll get a lot of wear out of in the spring and in the autumn, just because it's going to be like, I'm going to knit the sleeves, I think, elbow length. So it'll be kind of like a little cropped, cozy, colorful, funky sweater, which I'm really, really excited about. And I really am loving it. It's totally just fun and wild and beautiful and colorful. And I like that. I think it kind of looks like it could be like paint, different painted shades, kind of gradient faded into each other. I like also the kind of tempo, or I don't know, proportion of the shades, of the fades so far. I like how it kind of faded rather quickly into each other and it goes on pretty quickly. There aren't huge chunks. I think the bottom part will be the largest. Unless I switch over to that other little variegated shade, but I'm not quite sure yet. I do like that. I kind of think it's cool to have these colors and then go into a solid color, but we shall see. I'm really, really enjoying this pattern, and I highly recommend this pattern. If you've never knit a sweater before, this would also be a perfect first time project. It's very simple. The directions are wonderful. The pattern is beautifully written. So I definitely recommend this pattern. I'm enjoying it so much. It's my stockinette project and I'm loving it. I'm also loving having a bigger stockinette project rather than a little pair of socks, because socks go by so quickly, I feel like, and this kind of takes a little bit more time. I can work on it longer, and yeah, then my sock project can be a little bit more exciting. I'm really, really enjoying that right now. So that's my first project. My So Faded Pullover by Andrea Mowry. The next thing I have to show you before I go on to my next sweater is my little, I haven't made any progress on this, but I want to share it with you, and because I see it here, I just think I'll talk about it first. It's my crochet project. This is the first crochet project I've ever done. If you're new, I'm not a crocheter. I've just started to crochet, and I was starting with this little pattern I had found of a beautiful, cute, adorable little strawberry bag. Just a little purse with little strawberries crocheted on it. It was super, super adorable, and I was very excited about it, but it ended up being that the pattern was an extremely small purse, and I'd expected like a larger purse that I thought, you know, I could use as a project bag for socks or something. But yeah, it didn't end up being the case. But I really like crocheting. I'm really enjoying crocheting, and I feel like I've gotten a nice rhythm of crocheting. I'm loving this crochet hook. I mean, your tools do make a difference sometimes, especially if you're starting out. And I really loved this hook, which is a Knit Pro hook. I think it's the ginger hook, the ginger line. They also have knitting needles, also in the same kind of wood and finish, which is called ginger, I think. But it's just a very beautiful dark wood hook, and it's so nice to knit or crochet with a wooden tool. I have knit with bamboo needles, but not with wooden needles, and I really have enjoyed crocheting with this because it's just so warm in the hand, and it just, you know, I really like it. I'm not doing anything too complicated that needs, I don't know, you know, with knitting, sometimes you need a sharper point. I don't need anything like that. It's very simple, so it works wonderfully for my purpose. But I've just been enjoying crocheting very much. That being said, I have not worked on this project at all in the last couple of weeks. I've not crocheted in a single stitch. And I just think it's because the fact that this is such a small purse, I thought I would finish crocheting it, and then, you know, give it to my little daughter or use it for some other purpose, give it as a gift or something. But I don't really want this little purse. And because I don't really want to work on the project. So I think I'm going to rip this out, frog this completely, and use the yarn for something else and start crocheting something else. And I think what I want to crochet, which I don't know if I'm going to crochet it right now, but I think I'm going to make like a little bucket hat for the summer. I don't know if you know what I mean by bucket hat, but they're kind of these very simple hats. They're like these like little fisherman's hats that are just like the shape on the head. I don't know if you can kind of picture what I'm saying. If I make it with my hand, if you can kind of picture it. I'll try to put a picture up on the screen so you see what I'm talking about. But I've seen even YouTube tutorials of how to crochet a bucket hat. And now that I've crocheted a bit, I kind of feel like I got the theory. Maybe I'll be able to find a pattern even. But with that, I think I would just like to crochet one for the summer because I have so much cotton yarn. And I think it would be nice to just have a little fun bucket hat to wear. I like to wear hats in the sun. Just might be fun to have a little crocheted hat. I think it's so cute. I think crochet looks so cute in garments and accessories. So that's my next crochet project. I don't know if I'm going to cast that on right away or if it's gonna be a little bit down the road, then it's a little bit warmer and I'm not so preoccupied with doing so many sweaters and things. But that's definitely going to be my next crochet project. And I'm really, really excited about it. So I just had to share that. And also that this is going to be frogged and ripped back because I don't think it's worth working on if I'm not that interested in it. I don't know, I also, because of the cool kind of different cotton yarns I've thought about casting on a crocheted granny square blanket or granny stripe blanket even, just using the cotton yarn for that. But I'm not quite sure, and because I have this bucket hat idea, I think I'll start with that. We'll see. The yarn's not going anywhere. I'm not in any rush to use it up or something. I don't even have the hugest stash, so it's kind of nice to have something sitting there waiting for me to be inspired and to use it for something exciting. So that's my crochet project right now, my crochet plans. I thought I would just share that with you really quickly before I move on to the next project. But now we'll go on to the next work in progress, which is a very special sweater, which you've seen before if you've watched the podcast. And that is the Clover pullover that I'm knitting. It's the first sweater that I'm knitting in pieces, and it's a really, really special project for me for some reason. I just really think it's one of my most special projects that I've worked on in a long time. I'm loving it so much. It's a pattern by Wallin. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, the Clover pullover Clover sweater. And I'm in the middle of a row, so forgive me, I did not realize that I was, but you can still see the pattern. And I've not progressed terribly, terribly much since I last showed you, but I've worked consistently on this sweater and I've just savored every moment of knitting on it. Here it is. It's knit in Rowan felted tweed yarn in the colorway Lotus Leaf. It's a beautiful colorway. And Rowan felted tweed is a beautiful yarn. I'm in love with this yarn. I hope you can tell. The color looks like it's a little bit off in the camera. But it doesn't look as rich and as beautiful as it does in real life. But I will be posting progress photos soon, hopefully on Instagram. I have one on Ravelry too, and you'll be able to see how it looks, I think, a little bit better there. But it's just a beautiful, rich green shade, very warm, very vibrant, with little specks of blue and camel and cream. These like tweedy specks are just so stunning, and I love this yarn. I love working with this yarn. Every stitch makes me enjoy it more. Every row, I'm so in love with it. It's such a fun yarn, and you can see why it's a classic yarn. I feel like it's such a classic yarn. Just everything about it is just so much fun, and I think it's gonna wear so well. I love the way it feels, the springiness of it, kind of, the hardiness of the yarn. I know it's like a blend of wool, I think wool, alpaca, nylon, I'm not quite sure, but it's a really beautiful yarn to knit with, and I know it's gonna just get a ton of wear and be a piece that I'll have in my wardrobe, hopefully for a very long time, and it'll get lots and lots of wear and lots of love, and the pattern is just so beautiful. I love the cables, I love the lace. It's after, I think that I'm on the third repeat of it, and I did a swatch of the first time I did just a swatch of the lace and cables, so I feel like this is the fourth time I'm doing it. It's just I've really gotten the hang of it. It still takes my full focus. It still takes, requires just my attention, because it switches, you know, each panel is a different, you know, lace and cable pattern. So it takes your full attention. It's not like any kind of small repeat, but it is really, really beautiful. And I can read it now. I can kind of see where I am, see what I need to do a lot better. Really got the hang of it. And so I have stitch markers blocking off each different panel. So this first side panel of twisted stitches, I have a stitch marker. The next cable panel, I have the stitch marker, the lace stitch marker, and then the next cable, and then the little last final piece. And you can see the beautiful stitch markers I have are little seashells. I got these years ago on Etsy. I don't know where. I will try to find them. I tried to find where I bought them, but I couldn't. But it was they're beautiful stitch markers. They're, I think, some of my favorite stitch markers. I think they are my favorite stitch markers, just because they're little seashells and they're so natural. They have this like beautiful natural feel, but I also think they're very elegant. They're really like jewelry pieces. And Alexandra of the November Woods podcast recently made some beautiful progress keepers and stitch markers for her knitting, and she made them out of beautiful glass beads and stone beads, and they were so beautiful. They really also kind of made me think about like jewelry for knitting. It's really like just jewelry for your knitting in a way, and I'm not like even a huge jewelry person. I definitely wear a lot of earrings, and I like, you know, I like different jewelry pieces, but it just makes you feel like it's dressed up and it's elegant. I really enjoy having these stitch markers. But also, I forgot to share with you on my So Faded pullover that I have here this little progress keeper. I can't believe I forgot this. This is very special. Definitely also a jewelry piece. This is also from Homespun House. When Nick ordered this yarn from me, Molly included this stitch marker, and so I'm using it as I knit this So Faded, which I feel like this So Faded is going to need a special Anne of Green Gables themed name, because it's such an Anne of Green Gables themed project. But this is it. It's a little beautiful, like a straw sun hat with a little beautiful bead and a leaf. I love it. It's so cute. Okay, so back to the Clover though. Last time I shared the Clover progress with you all, I had talked about how I had dropped some stitches, or had some disappearing stitches on these side twisted stitch panels. Actually, specifically one side, and I could not for the life of me find where I dropped the stitch. I held it up in the light. I tried to like look, tried to stretch it out, tried to see where it could have gone, but I couldn't find it. I couldn't find the dropped stitch. So in a way, it's good. It's not like slipping away if it's there. Part of me thinks maybe I accidentally knit two stitches together, because sometimes the stitches get really close together, and I don't know, it could be that I knit them together. Regardless, I ended up just increasing evenly the two stitches that were missing. One I had dropped and I had found it and I fixed it, but I went ahead and increased to the proper number, and it just kept knitting and kept going. I still have not put a lifeline in. You'd think I'd learn. That was the hard way. I should have just put a lifeline in. I need to put one in very, very much, because I don't want to have that again. I don't want to have that happen again. I need to finish this. I love this pattern and I want to keep progressing on it, but I haven't done it yet. So I'm gonna need to put a lifeline in very soon. Hopefully very, very soon. But I am pretty careful. I don't know. We'll see. I definitely need to put one in. But I'm enjoying this progress, this pattern so much, and the progress I'm making on it. And it's just so beautiful. And I think I have maybe another repeat section, and then I can decrease for the sleeves. I think the armholes, the sleeve holes. Honestly, last time I think I had even said that I wanted to have been at that point by now, but I'm not, and I don't feel mad about it. I'm not sad about it. I'm very happy with my progress, very happy with this knit. And actually knitting on this sweater has been such an experience for me, like a learning experience. First of all, I had talked about this before, but I really learned what it means to knit meditatively and to focus on your knitting, because especially as I started and I was still getting used to the repeats and the charts, I had to be really focused on it and focused on my knitting and focused on what I needed to do next and what was coming. And that was such a meditative experience. I couldn't really be distracted by something else. I had to really give it my undivided attention at the beginning. And now I can listen to music. Now I can put something on as I knit. But it's so meditative to be focused on something. Because, you know, when I'm knitting stockinette or something very simple, or even a simple repeat, I'm doing it and I'm somewhere else mentally. I'm somewhere else, kind of, my focus is not there. It's nice to have my hands moving. My focus is not on my hands. And when I'm working on this, it brings my focus completely to the project, to the knitting, to what I'm doing, and really to the moment. So this project has just taught me that so much, and I loved that. What it's also, though, kind of taught me in the last couple of weeks is how much I enjoy and love slow knitting. I think this concept of like slow living is very in vogue right now and very talked about and discussed, and people love slow living, and I love the idea of slow living. I love that so much. To live mindfully, to get away from like fast-paced practices, even in your own daily life, in your mind or in your home, in your, you know, relationship with technology, in your perspective, and to kind of just appreciate things slowly. And it's definitely like a buzzword, but I do really, really want to implement that into my life, kind of living slowly and cooking things from scratch, growing plants and vegetables. I know a couple of you now, I feel like we have a little community, and some of you and I are friends, and I know a couple of you are really like homesteaders and gardeners, and you experience that slow living in a real way. But I feel like handcrafts can also be a very big part of slow living, and I think most people who like to work with their hands in some way artistically also enjoy the concept of slow living and have that kind of mindset. But in another way, I think it's easy to just want to finish project after project, to knit things quickly, to get it done and have the product and wear the product and move on to the next thing, and to this idea of consumption, like I want to get this yarn and use it up and make something quickly. Like I get into just a habit of that in a way, or some kind, I don't know, by default. I think it's so easy to see so many beautiful things and want to make them all and to want to make them quickly, to have them quickly. But I just realized how that's just is not actually what I really want. I think it is, and I do have to admit, I love like a quick knit, and I love to have something quickly. It's so satisfying, but it's a balance, because as I've been working on this, I've not felt the need to finish it quickly. I've also not had this feeling of like, oh, I'm gonna get sick of it if I don't finish it by some point soon, like I'm getting tired of it. I've really enjoyed it, and I enjoy the idea that it's going to take a while for me to complete this project. I like the sense of, you know, we're just on a journey together, this pullover and I get to see this beautiful, elaborate cable pattern and lace pattern emerge for me. Elaborate. I know there are more elaborate things out there. I feel like some of you watching have probably knit extremely beautiful, elaborate things. So, but for me, this is a very elaborate, very beautiful pattern, and to see it emerge, it takes time. It takes time for that to come and appear. And I just really, really love that process. And I love to see it, and I don't have any rush. I don't have absolutely any rush to have it finished. I am knitting it row by row, enjoying it, and just allowing that slowness to just be and to just have it take its time. When it's done, it'll be done, and it's going to feel so wonderful to wear it. But just the like journey with it is so much fun. So I hope that makes sense to you. I hope kind of you understand what I mean. But it's really been so much fun to just enjoy that. And I think as I think about future projects, I don't mind if this takes into next year to finish. I don't think it will. I think it's going to be finished quite soon compared to that. But, you know, I think about like, I definitely love knitting these cable patterns. I love more intricate designs. And those designs do require a bit more time and a bit more effort and a bit more focus. But I've just been savoring that so much. And instead of seeing that as like, oh, a challenge, which is going to be tough, but I'm going to like the product, which is how I think I've previously seen projects like that. I think I've looked at more complicated and intricate designs as something which take something from me in a way, like I have to pay the price of working extra hard and extra long to get it. Rather than seeing it that way, I've just learned to kind of see it as an extremely enriching experience and a joyful experience, and actually what I want to have as a part of my knitting and fiber arts life. It's not my whole, my only way of knitting and creating. Like I said, it's really important to me to have a stockinette or a mindless project to just work on so I have something for my hands. But that kind of more intentional, intricate practice is something I'm really, really enjoying and something I love. And I've just learned that recently. So I'm really excited about it. I hope that makes sense to you. Let me know how you feel about that. Is that a part of the creative process that you enjoy, or is it really just kind of this, I need something to do with my hands. I don't want to look at it too much. I just want to have something to with my hands so that I see progress. I also think that a lot of the time in my creative knitting journey, a big part of the therapeutic aspect of knitting has been the fact that I can just do something with my hands and I see progress, because there's so much we do in life that we work so hard and we don't see the physical result, physical progress of it. And so with knitting, it's so nice to see that actually, you're knitting and knitting and it grows physically, and that it's like evidence of your work. And so I know that that's been very therapeutic for me in the past, and just to have things to wear is just nice. But I'd love to hear how you see it. If you find that, what part of it you find enjoyable or therapeutic or meaningful for you. I would really love to hear about that. But that's my sweater for now. That's what I've been working on this last week. Those two things, and I'm very happy with those projects. But I have cast something new on as well, and that is a pair of socks. Last week I shared these with you. I had shared this yarn, and this yarn is the Regia or Regia Premium Cashmere yarn. It's cashmere, wool, nylon. I think it's a blend of I don't know the percentages, but it's a blend of those three. And I had just craved knitting with some cashmere yarn, because even this Regia yarn or Regia yarn is so squishy and soft and delightful to work with. I've really, really enjoyed it. And this color is one that I wouldn't usually choose, but I just was so drawn to this beautiful, cool pink tone. And I thought, for a pair of socks, any color goes pretty much. So I cast on some socks, and I had talked about how I wasn't quite sure about what pattern I wanted to do, but I wanted to do something patterned. Not just stockinette plain socks, because I have this other stockinette project, and that's kind of filling my stockinette needs. So I wanted to do something patterned, and I wasn't quite sure which pattern I would use, and I kind of just hadn't started because of that. But I got an amazing suggestion from Amy Palco of the Meaningful Stitch podcast. She had knit a beautiful pair of socks called the Shell Cottage. It's the Shell Cottage pattern, I think, by Helen of Curious Handmade. I can't remember her last name at the moment. I will write it here. But Helen of Curious Handmade has the most beautiful sock patterns. I had never even really looked at them before Amy suggested them. So Amy, thank you so much, if you're watching, for suggesting looking at her patterns, because I was just blown away by the beauty of her designs and the elegance of her designs. And it was hard to decide, but I I pretty quickly did decide on the pattern that I wanted to knit, and that was the Cornish cream tea socks. These socks are so beautiful. Okay, I just saw the pattern and I thought they were so beautiful. It reminded me of like a Victorian tea party. Like it just was they were so beautiful. And I loved the look of them. So I decided to cast them on. These are not going to be from me. These are going to be a gift, I think. Pretty sure. I definitely know they're going to be a gift. I'm not going to say who for in case this person ever watches this. I don't know if they're going to, but if they ever watch it, I don't want them to know, but I hope that they like these socks. I think they will, because this person is a very elegant, beautiful person who is very special to me in my life. And I just think she'd like them. So this is the pattern, the Cornish cream tea socks by Helen of Curious Handmade. And it's a beautiful, beautiful lace pattern. It's just so beautiful. And I feel very feminine, very ladylike, just so lovely. And I think the pattern fits perfectly with this colorway. This colorway, I don't remember the name. I will try to write it in the description below in the show notes, but it's just a cool pink tone. I think it was called like light pink or something like that. I don't know exactly the name of it, but it wasn't a very elaborate name. There's definitely a number to the colorway, which I will try to write, but it just fits so well with this patterning here. And it's so lovely to knit a pair of pattern socks. I haven't knit pattern socks in ages. I don't know if I've ever knit pattern socks that weren't colorwork. I've knit colorwork socks, but I don't think I've ever even knit lace or cabled socks. I could be wrong about that, but I'm loving it. It's so much fun. And Helen's patterns are so beautiful. They're so impeccably written. I was in awe of this pattern when I downloaded it because every single row is written out for you. So you can follow row by row what to do, how to knit, and there are even little like a spreadsheet, like little like check where you can check off how far you are. It tells you how far along you are percentage wise, so you know if you have enough yarn, you know how much yarn you'll need. There are 3 sizes available as well, and it's just the patterns are beautiful. So if you're interested in knitting pattern socks or cabled socks, lace socks, she has beautiful patterns. You can go and see them. Of course, I'll link them in the show notes as well. And if you've never knit pattern socks before, or lace or cables at all, this would be a perfect first pattern because everything is written out for you exactly, step by step, stitch by stitch, exactly what you need to do. I was so impressed with that pattern, how it's written. I've not seen a pattern written like that, maybe ever, that every single row is written out for you. So if you've not jumped into the realm of knitting pattern socks and you are intrigued, I 100% recommend her patterns, and they're just so beautiful. Also, like the layout, everything is just beautiful. The patterns are just super beautiful. There's also charts as well, which is what I did. I did just print out the chart and kind of followed along with the chart, because if you are used to knitting from charts, it's also just so nice to be able to just print out a little chart. So there's written and chart instructions for the lace cable pattern. And I did change the ribbing. It is a 2x2 ribbing in the pattern, but I think it's a 2x2 or another ribbing, but I just had already started the cuff of these socks, and I decided to do a 1x1 rib, which actually, starting these socks off, I had started them and then taken them with us in the car because we were driving. We had to do a long drive to Frankfurt last week, and it was so dark. We had to leave it literally like 3:45 in the morning, so it was very dark. And I started to knit. I thought I can do rib in the dark. I can do 1x1 ribbing. No, I couldn't. I totally messed up the ribbing, so I had to rip it all back. But it's okay. It's good now. And there's the pattern. It's really, really beautiful. I'm so happy with these socks, and they're so much fun to knit. I feel like they're knitting so quickly. They're knitting up so quickly because I'm just excited to get one more chart repeat done and another one and another one. And I've also been going slow with these, kind of having that same mindset or that same just feeling as I've had with my sweater. I'm happy with these taking their time, but I have been so excited to finish each repeat, and it's so much fun. I feel like they've gone by so quickly. And usually when I knit socks, I feel like it's stuck in it, very mindless. And then I get to the heel and I kind of put off the heel for a couple of days. Then I just knit up the heel. It's like I need to get it over with. And I don't know why, but the heel is always then tough when I'm doing just plain vanilla socks. But with these, when I got to the heel, I was like, okay, I'm gonna like quickly get the heel done so I can move on. And I don't know, the heel felt like it flew by compared to how it usually does. I don't know, I feel like the heel is always so like a little bit of an interruption to my flow, kind of. But I just knit the heel up really quickly, the gusset, picked up stitches and kept going. So it's really been so much fun. And I am knitting these on size 1, US 1 needles, 2.25 millimeter. You probably know better than I do, I think. But yeah, they're wonderful. And I have kind of had the goal of just knitting 1 repeat a day of these, 1 chart repeat a day, and usually I want to do more. But it's very nice and easy to have this little goal of 1 chart a day. Then I always know I'm making progress, but it's nice and slow, and it's just been fun. So I've really been enjoying these socks. They're so much fun. And I love the cashmere, the little bit of cashmere in this sock. I feel like it makes it very luxurious, even more feminine and soft, with this beautiful soft, cool pink tone and this beautiful lace panel at the front of the sock. So those are my socks that I'm knitting right now, and I'm enjoying these so much. All of my projects right now are just such a dream to work on. I'm really enjoying them. I'm really into the pattern sock thing. I'm very happy. This is just the first sock, so I have a whole other sock to work on. By then, maybe I'll be tired of knitting pattern socks, but I'm already kind of like eyeing the next pattern that I want to make next for my socks. I'm really enjoying them. So that's what I'm working on. Those are all my works in projects. I have works in progress. I have 3 works in progress right now, and this crochet piece, which I'm going to be tearing out. So yeah, just 3. But for me, that's a very good number. I'm very happy with it. And I'm really excited to see what comes next. I do have one other thing to show you though. That is something which I'm planning on working on a little bit as well. Although this project is more of a long-term project. It's a project that I have in my Make 9. By the way, both my So Faded and my Clover Pullover are patterns which are in my Make 9 board, which is the Make 9 Make-Along, is a make-along that Amy of Noble Character Crafts hosts every year, and this year I'm partaking. And these are both patterns from my Make 9 2021, in the Make 9 2021 Make-Along. And it's so much fun to have kind of goals a little bit and kind of a vision for the year. And I've really been enjoying it. But I also have, the next project I'm going to show you is one that's also on my Make 9 2021 board. And it is a little mitered square blanket, a little kind of patchwork knitted blanket. And in the Make-Along, works in progresses are allowed. This is a work in progress that I started, oh my gosh, years ago. It must have been in like, I don't know, 2013 or 2014. So it's been quite a while that I started this. I mean, I have 3 squares. This was so long ago. I remember seeing this so long ago, I think even on a podcast at that point. Just these cozy memories blankets, these mitered square blankets, these kind of just patchwork leftover blankets. And my idea at that point was to think, I thought, you know, every sock pair I finish, I'll do a little square with the leftover stock yarn to remember all those projects. And then I was really into it, and I got a whole bunch of little minis on eBay that someone was selling, like little 10 grams. I think they're 10 grams, maybe even less. They're tiny. It must be 10 grams though. Tiny minis. All different kind of pinky shades actually. And I just knit 3 squares. So I didn't even start. This one here is the 4th square, which I don't know what happened. I knit that at the same time. I think I picked up too few stitches. I definitely did. And then just knit the square and then just left it there. Probably that's what stopped me from continuing. Rather than ripping that out, I was just like, oh, that was a weird mistake. I'm not gonna knit on this anymore. But it's been so long that I've had these 3 squares sitting in my stash and these minis, and I have tons of like little leftover bits and bobs. And I just thought this year I'd love to work on a little scrappy patchwork blanket and just have it for either my daughter Esmeralda to play with or to snuggle with, just to have it around as a fun little blanket. So this is also on my Make 9 2021 Make-Along board. I do want to finish this year. I don't even need to have a big blanket. I just kind of want to have a little blanket with some kind of just a patchwork blanket. It might even be like a little baby blanket size or something like that. But I'm really excited for this. And I think I'm going to start working on this consistently now. Maybe this week I'll just knit a couple squares here and there. We'll see. This first colorway actually was a very special colorway. And these socks I still wear all the time. These are one of the first pairs of socks I ever wore in this, or ever knit. Not ever wore. I have worn socks before I knit these socks, but these are some of the first socks I ever knit. And this is actually a very special yarn as well. This is a cashmere, merino cashmere nylon blend by Wallin Vine Yarns. And this is the colorway. I still remember, I think it was, oh no, I don't remember. It was like Eva and Lena or something was the name of this colorway. I think that's actually right. And it's really, really pretty. And I still love these socks. I still wear these socks all the time. They actually have holes in them, which I need to darn, like 1 or 2, and I need to darn and I haven't. But they're so soft and so luxurious and beautiful. And this one is just a leftover, one of these from this little pack of, I think it was like 20 of these little minis. That was that from that. And then this one I had knit a shawl for my grandmother out of this color. It's also a cashmere blend, cashmere silk blend, very, very soft and beautiful. But yeah, those are the first 3 squares, which are very old. But I wanted to share it with you because I want to get started on this. This is definitely in my plans for the next year, and I just want to knit here and there on it. I have just a little bag full of minis and leftovers. Here's more of that Eva and Lena color, which I could use this now to darn those socks, which I really should, really soon. I even have little hand spun minis, which I can use for my own hand spun. These are some of my very first hand spun, which I think will also be fun to have some little rustic hand spun squares. And I have all these little minis, and I'm very, very excited about just working on this and getting started and just kind of making a small blanket. I don't have any huge plans, but just to make a little mitered square blanket, I'm really excited about it. So that is my kind of hopes and dreams, my little plans for the coming weeks and months. I really am thinking like I have no rush in this area. It might be like a square a week, a square a month. I'm not sure. I will show you every once in a while when I have made progress on it. I'm also not going to be completing this anytime soon, but it's fun to have, and I think it's fun to have a scrappy project. I've seen so many cool scrappy projects lately. Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady podcast has Scrappy Sundays, and I always love watching her Scrappy Sunday videos and seeing all that she makes with her scraps. A new podcast that I've really been enjoying, which you should definitely check out, is the Knit Cat, or Cat Knits. Cat is her name, and she has done so many cool scrappy projects. I will link her channel as well below. She has done super cool things. So she made recently a patchwork sweater that she crocheted, and it looks so cool. I so want to copy her idea and also crochet a patchwork sweater, but I have so many sweaters I can't do it. But I love this aesthetic. I love the way it looks. It looks super cool and super fun, and she makes it look super cool. So I really was inspired by her scrappy projects too. So let me know also if you have special scrappy projects that you're working on, or if you kind of have a scrappy project that's always kind of on the needles, kind of with you along the way, that you just kind of knit a square on every once in a while, or a stripe on, or a piece of. I'd love to hear about what patterns those are and what you work on. So I'd love inspiration in that area too. And that's all I have to show you this week. Right now and ongoing through the whole year of 2021, we also have a knit along that is running, and that's the Tudor Roses knit along. This is a knit along that I am hosting along with my fellow podcasters, Bella of the 100 Acre Wool podcast and Sophie of the Acre Creations knitting podcast. And we are knitting patterns from the book Tudor Roses by Alice Starmore. It's a beautiful book filled with beautiful patterns, and hopefully very, very soon I'll be able to cast on and, or show you the yarn I'm using and casting it on. I know it's on its way here, and I'm so excited. My first pattern that I'm going to be making is the, sorry, my needle fell, is the Elizabeth I pullover or sweater. I'm so excited about it. It's such a beautiful pattern, so elegant and just stunning. So I can't wait to share that with you and just the progress as I start knitting it. If you are interested in partaking in the knit along, you can join us on Instagram under the hashtag Tudor Rose KAL. And you can also join us on Ravelry. I have a Ravelry group, Merryweather Knitting, which I would love if you joined and came and introduced yourself and chatted with me over there. But I know that Bella and Sophie both have Ravelry groups as well that you can go join in on, chat with them in their knit along boards as well. And you can join all 3 of the groups and chat in all 3 of the boards and on Instagram. The more the merrier. This has been a project that I've been so excited about for quite a while now, and I cannot wait to finally be able to get started. So I hope you'll join us in that knit along. You can also find me on Instagram as Merryweather Knitting. I post on there not super regularly, but I love to be on there to get inspiration and to see what others are working on. You can also see some of what I'm working on, my stories on there. And you can also find me on Ravelry as gabriellak, and as I said, on my Ravelry group, Merryweather Knitting. So I hope you join me and chat with me there. If you liked watching this video today, please subscribe and leave a like and a comment. It's so much fun to hear from you and to chat with you and just to kind of have a community to hear what you're working on too. I'd love to hear what you're inspired by lately and what you've been kind of working on in the past couple of weeks. So I look forward to seeing you again soon next week for more knitting crafts and spinning content. Until then, I wish you very, very happy knitting. Bye!